The first time that I experienced premature ejaculation was when I was around 15 years old, and that's when I started my sex life. I was with a very beautiful and hot girl, and it was so embarrassing for me that I had this hot girl naked and I wasn't able to do anything. As I was very young and these were my first experiences, I thought it was something normal. And when I asked the other people, that's what they usually say, that it was going to get better eventually. But it didn't. It just kept happening over and over again. After a couple of months, I started to ask more questions to family and friends to see if this was something that I could fix. I even went to doctors to see what they could say about it, and none of them could help me. So I was there trying to fix it for myself, but it reached the point where the girl was already frustrated and she didn't want to keep trying. That's how we usually say it. We were trying to have sex because I wasn't able to actually do it, right? I wasn't even able to put it inside. I would come even before that happened. And she said something like, there's two type of men, the premature ones and the good ones. She said this like for me to understand that this was something that it wasn't going to change no matter how hard I tried. It was like having a small dick. Like once you have it like that, then you have to find a way to kind of like sort it out and see what you can do with it. And that was a big problem because my sex life was totally trash. I could even say non-existent because I don't feel like I was doing something in there. Even with what she said and all these signs of the word that it was going to be a lifelong condition, I still try to find a way to fix this. And with this months and years pass with me having the hope of trying to find a solution, because I always thought that this could be solved. And I was right. My name is Jesus Noya and I help men to last longer in bed, become sexually dominant, and be more attractive. All this while avoiding the deadly mistakes that I made through my sex life. I learned all this from my medical background and being a medicine student. 5 years of struggling with a terrible sex life, experiencing things like premature ejaculation, performance anxiety, and non-existent sexual confidence. Today I want to do something very important, and that is saving you from the mediocre advice from other people that will waste years of your life believing you're doom, believing that you're always gonna be this 1 second man that can't last long enough in bed. I will help you to understand why you can actually fix this. Start your journey to overcome your premature ejaculation and keep you motivated all along the way. And if you want to be able to fuck for hours and reach your full sex potential while leaving her like biting her lips anytime that she thinks about you, go and check the link in the description right now. There's 5 points that we're gonna cover for this, and the first one is that most men are actually terrible lovers. Seriously, especially those guys that are always bragging about like how much they make girls scream, how much they desire them, how long they last in bed and all that. Almost all of them, they have terrible sex lives, and you're not gonna listen that from their mouth, but when you see their partner, that's when you see that there was something wrong in there. Most women are actually unsatisfied and unhappy with their current sex life, and it's not a surprise when most men don't actually know how to do the work, and women cannot say anything about this because they're gonna hurt the feelings of the big man, of the big boy. And even the girls that actually step out and say something, men do not listen to that. And jokes aside, I think that this is one of the reasons of why there's so much like hate towards men from women these days, is because they haven't been able to connect with their partners in this sexual way, because a lot of the emotional part, like the actual connection in a relationship, comes from sex, and if you don't have that well set up, then it's not going to work. And these are the guys that you're getting advice from, men that don't even know how to perform properly themselves in bed, and they're trying to tell you how to like manage your PE, when the reality is that they probably have that at some degree as well, because most men do not know how to actually control their ejaculation. It is a skill that you can actually develop. Like literally, you can have 100% control of when you want to come, of when you want to actually ejaculate, so you can make sex as fulfilling, as pleasurable as you want. Men never train this skill, and it's actually very common that a lot of men have premature ejaculation as well, and they don't even notice it. They don't even recognize that they have it, because for them it's normal, coming in like 5 minutes. That's how it's supposed to be. Or if the gears move too fast, then it's normal for them to come. And let's say that you know a guy that is actually good in bed, like you don't hear that from himself, but from the guys that are actually sleeping with him. I would say that even with that, those guys are not actually as good as you may think. They're gonna be at best decent, just decent, because the guys that are top sex performers, those ones that are able to blow like the mind and the body and the spirit of a woman, are those that are actually training and that know exactly what to do, just in the same way that athletes do this. Sure, you can have some talent to do your thing, but it's not gonna be as near as good as actually putting the things that work in practice. So as most men have terrible standards for sex, or they're totally unaware of how things actually work, of course they're gonna think that premature ejaculation is something that you cannot fix, and the solutions for that are gonna be totally trash. The second point is that doctors don't know actually what to do. When I was in my personal journey to understand this problem, this condition, what I could do about it, I started to visit different doctors, and that was actually one of the reasons of why I got into medicine school in the first place. And what I found was that there's absolutely nothing. It's totally empty. There's no research, there's no papers, there's no like strong opinion on how to deal with this. Like even the urologists, the medical specialists that focus on your penis, they don't know what to do. Why? Because it wasn't until the 60s, after the sexual revolution, when I started to make research around sex and sexual behaviors, it started to be a thing. Masters and Johnson was like the first couple in doing that, and they were hated a lot. They were being seen like perverts and all this kind of stuff. Even until today, they have a lot of controversy because of this. So it's not a big mystery why is there so little information around these kind of problems. The anatomy of the clitoris was discovered in the 90s. The 90s, less than 30 years ago. We didn't understand how one of the most important organs for the pleasure in a woman actually work. We didn't know that. It is so much like this that even the kind of pills and medicines that they give you to try to treat premature ejaculation are not even for that. A lot of people, for example, talk about SSRIs or opioids. Bro, that shit are antidepressants. They weren't made to treat premature ejaculation, and they're giving that to you, fucking your mental health and your hormones with the hope of fixing premature ejaculation. If you go to a pharmacy or a doctor, they're gonna prescribe this, and a lot of men don't even see results. They see the negative effects, but they don't see the actual results. And for all the sexual dysfunctions like erectile dysfunction, okay, Viagra and Cialis is a little bit more specialized. But even with that, I have to be very clear on this. They're not treating the root, they're just treating the symptoms. The way that Viagra works, for example, is stopping a specific enzyme in your body so blood can flow more to your dick and basically be hard for a longer time, even when your brain is sending the signals to actually go down. And that's why you're able to be hard for a longer period of time, but it's not actually helping you to fix the reason of why you're not able to get hard in the first place. And as a quick note, sexology, like the kind of science that studies the behaviors around sex, that doesn't even come from medicine. It comes from psychology mainly. When I went to medicine school because I wanted to learn more about sex, they wouldn't focus on this kind of thing. So if you find a doctor that is able to help you, okay, but in general, from my experience and from all the people that I've been listening to, doctors don't actually know what to do, and that's why their diagnostic is going to be very inaccurate. If you ever got diagnosed with clinical PE, with lifelong PE, that's not even a thing. They basically have no right to say that. And you may be thinking, oh, but they're doctors, they know more than you and me together. I get that. Most doctors are still recommending eat carbohydrates, fiber, low cholesterol diet, when all that fucks up your body, your health, and your hormonal health, because that's what they were taught in medicine school. And even if it doesn't work in practice, they're gonna be preaching that. So I just want you to be aware of this. Doctors don't know what to do. Now, I want you to pay attention closely to this. You can actually overcome your premature ejaculation, and not only that, you can be able to learn to master and have total control over it. It doesn't matter which one is your current situation, you can actually live a fulfilling and beautiful sex life. If nobody ever told you that, I want to be the first person in doing it. There's hope in fixing your problem. To do this, you need to fix yourself. And there's three main areas that you have to work on, and that's the psychological part, the physical part, and the emotional part. Why? Because from those three is where usually the main problem is coming. That's usually the root for premature ejaculation and most sexual dysfunctions. Once you fix them, then there's nothing else. With the psychological part, you have to understand that porn mainly has like fucked up most men's brain, right? They're social weirdos, wankers, addicts. They can even speak to a woman properly, to a real life girl. And if you mix porn with masturbation, then it's very normal for someone to suffer premature ejaculation. Along with this, the dopamine receptors and how people experience pleasure in general are totally fried right now. That's for both men and women, but when it comes to men and the way that they have sex, a lot of them, they don't even find it like pleasurable anymore. They feel like it's boring from time to time. That's one of the consequences. But when you're not present, when you're anxious, when you're not able to experience sex like in this wholesome way how it's supposed to be, premature ejaculation can be one of the ways that this anxiety is going to manifest. Going into the emotional part, traumas in general are a regular thing for almost everyone. We all have been going through some shit through our lives. Even the people that look super happy and like they have perfect lives right now, they most probably had a big problem as well in their past. And it's very normal for that to be reflected in their sex life. The problem with this is that with those emotional scars, with those emotional traumas, people never work on healing them. People have something in there constantly hurting and they do nothing about it. And man, with the physical part, most people are obese, skinny as hell, skinny fat, anemic, they have fucked up hormones and health, and that's why you see so many cancers and disease. It's not because someone won the lottery of having a heart attack or something like that. It actually comes from all this. In the best case, people are malnourished. They're literally not receiving enough nutrients for their body to work properly. And people are eating carbohydrates and plants like soy, for example, that literally had toxins in them for you to not be able to have sex, to reproduce. And it's not a surprise that with all these, people experience premature ejaculation, erectile dysfunction, low libido, and other sexual dysfunctions. This is actually related, man. These are the real causes. And now that we identify them, the problem with most people is that nobody actually tries. Seriously, for real, nobody actually tries to fix all these kind of things. Not for their premature ejaculation and not for other aspects of their life. They rather always go through the symptom treating route. A lot of men, when they start to experience PE, they go with these specific tactics that are usually quick fixes that not even work. Like try to masturbate before having sex so you can last longer. Take this pill that's going to help you to stay hard. They try shit that never work, putting in practice advice from people that never knew how to deal with this, and then when they realize that it's not working, they go like, oh man, well, I'm gonna have to deal with this the rest of my life. Seriously, man, for real? When that happens, in their mind, they already surrendered. They're gonna have this forever, and now the methods that they're trying is just to kind of sort it out, you know, like just trying to deal with it. And obviously what they're treating is only the symptom, not the root. They're always gonna be in this cycle over and over again, and that's why it's normal for them to believe that this is lifelong, that this is going to be forever. And you know, at some point in time they may hear something that actually works and they just try it for 1 week and leave it because they haven't seen results. That's how most people approach this. Believe me, I already seen it a lot of times. And you know, I get it. I understand why it may be difficult for people to implement changes in their life. A lot of people can even stick to a diet or fix the way they eat. But imagine that you're eating like garbage the whole time, you're eating very bad, and then you say to yourself, or you get diagnosed with lifelong obesity. You don't have lifelong obesity. You're obese because you're eating crap. The cause, the real root is in there, and you still putting it in your body, and that's why you're fat. The same happens with PE. There's something that is affecting you right now that you're not dealing with, that you're not trying to solve, and then you wonder why there's no change. It's because of that. There's no other reason. So these are the reasons why people think that lifelong PE or clinical PE is a thing. Most men are terrible lovers, doctors don't know what to do, and that you need to fix yourself, but nobody actually tries. Now, if nobody tries, I want you to be the one that do it. I want you to be the one that is going to overcome this forever, and not only that, but becoming the best lover possible so you can enjoy your sex life at its fullest, as it's supposed to be. Fixing premature ejaculation, fixing PE, is not about a silver bullet that's going to fix everything magically. No, it's about fixing as many things as possible so nothing can harm you anymore. And if you know that there's one in specific that may be affecting you right now, it's putting your total focus on that as soon as possible. This is what is called death by 1,000 cuts. Because once everything is checked, once you have everything in order and there's nothing else to fix, guess what? There's no way that you still have it. There's no way that you're still gonna be experiencing PE when you become like this new person, this perfect lover. You're gonna be able to finally have sex and pound her until she screams your name. Now you didn't only just fix your premature ejaculation, you have become this new powerful and masculine man that is able to satisfy his woman like nobody else. It's like when you start to exercise and you just see that you pumped a bunch of muscle. It's not that you just put muscle in your body, it's that you're now more confident, you're more secure of yourself, you are more of a disciplined and hardworking man. Besides the outcome itself, you also get all the benefits from becoming this new person. And the same happens with your PE, with your premature ejaculation. You have the power to overcome this. It's totally on you. And I repeat it one more time, you're not doomed with this forever. You're not. I wasn't. You either. Lifelong PE is a total scam, and whoever that disagrees with me, I totally guarantee that they haven't been doing what they were supposed to do. I really want this video to give you hope, so you know that this is a situation that you can fix. And sooner or later, you're gonna be experiencing the best sex life possible. I really wish that for you, man. Again, if you want to overcome your premature ejaculation as soon as possible and be able to fuck for hours like a beast and be the man that totally dominates your woman, then go and check the link in the description right now and I'll see you there. But besides that, that's everything from me, man. Later.